Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radical Democracy Show. I'm your host, Kamali Rose, here with, I guess, some breaking news, some live coverage here of the Nancy Pelosi is currently, there's a vote in the House of Representatives right now for the Speaker of the House. This is the new 117th Congress, and Nancy Pelosi is essentially running against Kevin McCarthy. And, Pelosi needs, typically it's 218 votes to get over to get the majority of votes. You need a majority of votes to win. She would need at least 218 votes. But because of the absences, there are some absences in Congress. If that happens to affect it, it would be 214 votes. But I'm still trying to get clarity on whether or not that's the case. Right now, we're just watching this live. Unfortunately, I don't have a cable subscription, so I can't get C-SPAN live. So this is live on C-SPAN 1 right now if you have cable. So I'm trying to hear just trying to listen to who just someone just voted for Pelosi. That sounds like so still just trying to listen in here to see. I know I'm not giving you any audio on this right now, but I can cut in with some audio for y'all. So I wanted to jump in and cover this because what I was seeing, I thought that we may have had a chance here to block this. So I am, I'm just trying to figure out the counts here and whether or not whether she only needs 214 votes or 218 to get across the line. She's at 213 votes right now so far. Cori Bush abstained from voting for her. Representative Barbara Lee, AOC, also abstained, surprisingly, after a pressure campaign. All right, so she has 215 votes now. So I think it's still 218 that she's going to need in order to secure it here. And we'll just see. I know that Alyssa Slotkin, Mike Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, they all voted just present. So there was also Connor Lamb and Representative Golden voted for others. One voted for Hakeem Jeffries, the other for Tammy Duckworth. So the count is 215 to 208. There's really no chance for Kevin McCarthy to become speaker unless Democrats voted for him. So again, so now they're calling back up the new members of Congress that did not cast a vote. So they're allowed to. So it's sounding like Pelosi just got the votes that she needed, I believe. So they just all started cheering, clapping. I believe that's the sound of Nancy Pelosi getting her speakership. I'm going to cut this stream off very shortly if that's the case, because I was here hoping to bring you some good news and hopefully see the progressives actually use their power to fight for Medicare for all in this with a very rare opportunity. And unfortunately, it appears that they are not going to exercise that power, unfortunately. And I talked about this on my stream yesterday. Really don't feel like getting into it right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this play out. I'm gonna check on Twitter to see what's going on here. Okay, yep. So Cory Bush just voted for Nancy Pelosi in the second roll call. That's that. Yep, AOC and Cory Bush voted for Pelosi on the second roll call. So that's that. That's it. AOC, Bush. The squad has, unfortunately, as far as I'm concerned, let down the constituents and the folks that have really, folks that have fought for them, Yeah. All right. Well, that's that. So Cory Bush, AOC on the second roll call decided to cast a vote for Pelosi. Sad. So very sad. Really disappointing, discouraging to see. So Pelosi is speaker. And yeah, that's disappointing. All right. So sorry y'all, but that's that. Really depressed here. Jesus Christ. We're screwed. We're just screwed. We're fucking screwed. They literally in order to get this vote across, they had to pass new legislation in the middle of the night that allowed people with COVID, they had members of the House with COVID-19 coming in to cast their vote for Pelosi because they knew how thin her margin was here. And so they literally were willing to risk everybody else's safety in order to get Pelosi's, speakership. And they don't, this is all they care about is power, maintaining power, and not wielding it for the sake of working class people. So, oh man, yeah. So Pelosi, gets her speakership. Cory Bush, AOC, fold under the pressure there and back her. So yeah, What Up America says that's a bummer. Totally agree. They're not feeling up to fighting, I guess. Yep, absolutely. Stamaticus Gaming says that sucks. Totally agree. And Angie Gracie says a bunch of fuckers, which I wholeheartedly agree with. It's just really a damn shame. It's a damn shame that we were unwilling. I don't know, but this is everything that I had been trying to fight for the last 4 years. And I've all but given up I'm not going to waste my time, my money, my energy in this pathetic game of electoral politics any longer. I don't have the energy for it. I have no more fucks to give about these politicians. And I'm sorry, it's not them as individuals. It's the system. The system is decrepit and corrupted. And even when you send good, decent, people into Congress, they get chewed up and spit out. Eventually you just get this. And even the new folks coming in, we just lack a certain political will on the left and an awareness of how to wield power. And unfortunately, this has me just seriously questioning all the movements, what we've been doing for the past 4 years, why we got these folks elected. I thought it was for moments like this. I thought that we said, I certainly donated hundreds, if not thousands of dollars while being unemployed, because I thought I was investing in these people that were, willing to fight at all costs for us. And I realize that, I'm realizing more and more that this system is a vicious machine, and even you can send good people into Congress, and we got rid of the funding, the corrupt funding mechanism. We funded them from the grassroots. We gave them, grassroots support, funded them through the grassroots, and even that's not enough to break the power of Congress and what that power that it holds over people. And yeah, it's a corruptive force. And I can't in good faith tell people to continue to, poor struggling people to spend their time and their money and their energy, investing it into supporting these folks. I don't see, I'm gonna sign off soon because I don't have some message of hope. I'm in the Chris Hedges sort of mindset right now that maybe there is no hope here, and maybe what we need to be doing in the news is not trying to provide hope, but just trying to provide, the truth. And sometimes the truth ain't nice, and sometimes hope is lost, and we're too far gone. And I think maybe we've reached the event horizon of capitalism and these forces in power, and these systems, this one party, this essentially one corporate party. You can call it the two-party duopoly. We got one major corporate party, really. Both parties are just beholden to corporations and their whims, and not really beholden to the people. And I think that maybe the left has to start focusing its fight elsewhere. I talked about it last night. I think that the labor movement is where our power lies at this point, and in labor and in organizing labor. And I think that, it's going to require a general strike to move anything in any direction, because without all of the force of that behind it, I don't think that these politicians alone will ever have the political courage to, and I'm using AOC's own words. I mean, you can check out, there's a video of her talking about how we need to elect people that have political courage to fight against the, Democratic establishment. And we needed people that realized that our fight was not just against Republicans, but was also against the Democratic establishment. And I thought that that's what we were fighting. And that's what I thought I spent the last 4 years fighting so hard to get these people elected for, was I thought that they realized that the Democratic establishment is not their friends. These people are not their friends. And as long as they, as soon as they start to believe that they are, then we've already lost them, And so, I want to be able to bring a message of hope, but I'm not feeling a lot of it myself. So sorry that I'm not able to do that right now, and not able to provide that. For folks that are just joining us, Pelosi was able to gain her speakership. I'll ask everyone to please hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel. Don't bother sharing this video. I don't care to share it. I don't care. I don't know. I'm heartbroken right now. I gotta be honest. This is very discouraging. I don't really know what it is that we're fighting for here. I thought that we all had the same sense of urgency, but clearly we don't. I mean, we're okay letting Medicare for all go another 2, 4, 10, 20, how many years, how many years will it be till we have another opportunity like this? Do we think that, it's been 100 years since we had a pandemic like this, a public health crisis like this? It's been 100 years since then. It's in the 1918 pandemic. It's been over 100 years since then. It's been 100 years since we've had an economic depression this bad, an economic crash this bad of capitalism. This is worse. We're talking about historic unemployment, worse than the Great Depression. That was 1930s. So, 100-year event, another 100-year event. And these aren't just happening, one at a time. They're overlapping crises, right? These are absolutely catastrophic overlapping crises. We had both of those things happening. 350,000 Americans dead in less than a year. From this pandemic, tens of millions, 60 million people having to file for unemployment in just the last 9 months. That's 1 in every 3 workers. Most of them losing their health insurance at the same time. Yeah, I mean, if we can't use this moment, if we can't seize this moment as progressives to get a floor vote on Medicare for all with a democratically controlled House of Representatives. I mean, what can we get? What are we going to get through electoral politics, y'all? I got, I'm like, I've been endorsed by the Progressive Talent Pipeline. So it's like this group that like helps people get jobs in Congress. I have no interest. I'm sorry, y'all, but and some people watching this might be fellow, some other folks that were also, a bunch of people followed me that were there at that, at a recent event they held. And I got to say, I have zero interest in joining Congress in any way, shape, or form. Like, I have zero interest in it. Like, to be a cog in that machine is the most unappealing thing I could think of at this stage. Like, it just feels like an utter waste of time. And sure, we can talk about how that's where the levers of power are. And, you just get a little bit of this and a little bit, we'll get a little here and a little there. And, little gains happen. And it's just like, man, for the people that I care about, they're suffering way too much, and these little bullshit gains ain't helping them. It's the people that have been unemployed, the people being brutalized by police, people caught up in this disgusting criminal injustice system we have here. There's no hope for these people locked up in cages right now. There ain't no damn hope for the most marginalized amongst us. It just, fuck, man. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, we couldn't do this. We couldn't get a floor vote on Medicare for all in the middle of a pandemic with a democratically controlled House, 350,000 Americans dead. We couldn't pull that off. That was too much to ask. Do we believe in these things? Do we truly believe in these things? If we're not willing to go out, to stick our necks out on the line, to do everything, to use every single piece of leverage available to us to fight for it, I'm sorry, but I don't feel a sense of urgency here on the left. I don't feel an accurate sense of urgency here on the left for the desperation of struggling Americans right now, and struggling people all around the world. But I mean, especially, the Americans that they have direct responsibility over, right? Direct accountability to. And I just don't see it. And the question you have to wonder is if this system of capitalism is just a little too far gone and is beyond repair at this point. Is irreparable damage already been done? And again, I don't hate AOC. I don't think she's a bad person or any of these people in the squad, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. I don't hate any of them. I'm not against any of them. They're all good people and good intentioned people, and they have the best of intentions and the purest of intentions. But they're dead ass wrong on this. They are dead wrong. And, and I just think that the left was unable to seize on a crucial moment, on a once in a lifetime opportunity. And, I wasn't able to do enough. I don't have the power. I don't have the, I wasn't effective enough of a communicator. I didn't grow my platform large enough soon enough. I didn't, so many things I wish I could have done more. I'm not an organizer, and we need more organizers in this world, I suppose. And I've never been an organizer really, and just don't have the confidence for it at this stage. And I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have done more to try to push this forward and to try to get people to see the importance of this moment and to recognize the power that we had and that we could have wielded. And, I'm crushed by the moment. I got to be honest, today's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Just like the worst birthday of my life. I'm dead ass serious. Like the worst birthday of my life. Like I couldn't have asked for, like, I'm absolutely crushed right now. I'm somebody, I got into this. I wanted to have, Cornel West says that it's not enough to just have hope. You have to be a hope. And I really don't feel that I can do this show and provide hope for people any longer. I just don't feel like, I don't know how to. I don't know that I have the skill set and the capacity to do so. So I just I'm sad, I'm sad. I'm hurt. I'm sad. I just I thought I thought for a second that we were going to actually do something here, and that and that this was going to work, and that we actually were going to wield power here. And I was excited. I got to be excited for all of 2 seconds, but when push came to shove, AOC, Cori Bush, and every single member of the squad voted for Pelosi. Every single one of them voted for Pelosi. So to everyone telling me about the squad and how, we just got to keep going and we got to get more of these people elected. Nina Turner's coming up for Congress. I was super excited about that. Not excited anymore. Sorry, y'all. Like, I got the most subs that I've gotten in a long time when I did a video on how I was excited about Cori Bush. And I just think that in order to grow and have a platform, even on the left, you have to care about electoral politics, and you have to pay, you have to put all this energy into it. And how do you do it when you don't believe that there's really any hope in it, and that there's really nothing to gain of this, that it's a waste of people's time, that it's time that we could be spending elsewhere. What I believe in: democracy in the workplace. This isn't democracy that we have anymore here. We've lost control over our democracy. We have no democracy. We have an oligarchy. What we live under is an oligarchy. The wealthiest people control our political system, and in our, it's no surprise, because in our capitalist system, the wealthiest people control the entire system, right? The employer class, they control the surplus of our labor. And in every society stretching back as far as human history, whoever controls the surplus of labor controls the society. Kings and queens under monarchy, lords under feudalism, the masters under slavery, the employers under capitalism, right? Any economic system, whoever controls the surplus of our labor controls the society, right? And I just want I want all of us to be able to control. I want all of us to have the control over society collectively. And in order to do so, working people are going to have to gain control over their, over the surplus of their labor, which means democracy in the workplace, democratize the enterprise, right? One worker, one vote on all major decisions. That's the only way I see forward out of this thing. And it's going to be a long road ahead, but I think that it's a road better fought than having to sit here and spend the next 50 years fighting for all of these, reforms of capitalism that will eventually just be undone by the capitalist class, right? Because as long as we leave the capitalists in power with all the money and the wealth and the incentive and the power, you're right, to continue to gain wealth, right, through exploiting the working class and extracting the surplus of their labor. As long as we leave that capitalist class in power with all of that incentive there, they're just going to keep taking it away from us, right? They'll keep taking it away from us, and they'll keep taking it back. Whatever gains we make, they will undo them. They've undone every gain, pretty much all the gains that we've had under the labor movement. They've undone those, even the weekend, like we're losing our weekend. We're losing the 40-hour work week. People are working 2 jobs. People are working 50 plus hours a week at this point just to survive, right? 60% of Black Americans in this country make less than $20,000 a year. 60% of all Black people in this fucking country make less than $20,000 a year. You tell me how, man, like, this hurts. This is killing me, y'all. I'll get to some more comments because I'm just crushed at this point. So, Ken Sex says, last I heard, a bunch of Dems did not support Pelosi. Did I miss something? Yeah, unfortunately, they had 2 roll calls. The first roll call, a bunch of them abstained from voting, which is not the same as voting against or voting no. They abstained from voting, which allowed them to vote in the second roll call. So they made a second roll call of anybody who abstained from voting. And in the second roll call, AOC, Cori Bush voted for Nancy Pelosi. So they caved essentially immediately, and they voted for Pelosi and got her speakership. So yes, and there were some others who voted for some other people, but it just wasn't enough. They didn't get enough votes. So yeah, there was Alyssa Slotkin, Mike Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, AOC, Barbara Lee, Cori Bush, all abstained or voted present in the first call, and then AOC, Cori Bush, gave over their votes, and she got across the line. She got enough votes. So Nancy Pelosi has been reelected Speaker of the House. So Yeah, unfortunately, Ken, it was I did this whole live stream because I got a little bit of hope, in me that we were actually going to make this happen and that we were going to be able to extract the barest minimum of concessions. And it's just so sad, really, and pathetic, if I'm being honest, of the so-called squad. Every single squad member ultimately voted for Pelosi for speaker. And this is the person they all, a lot of them were elected saying that they under the guise of being willing to buck the Democratic establishment, even when it's inconvenient for them. And unfortunately, I just think that the system is the system. These people aren't bad people, but the system is a bad system. And as soon as you get in there, these people suddenly become your colleagues. Nancy Pelosi is their colleague, right? They sit there, they have lunch with her. They also all have very comfortable jobs, right? Let's be real. They make $175,000 a year. That's $16,000 a month. That's $4,000 a week, right? They're comfy now, right? So they make $175,000 a year. They got the best health insurance. They're all getting, vaccines for COVID-19. AOC already got her vaccine for COVID-19. So I just don't think that AOC, the bartender, would have the same lack of urgency that AOC, the congresswoman, has, if I'm being real. AOC, the bartender in New York City, being on either the front lines of the pandemic or having been fired from her job. I wonder if she would have the same sense of urgency of, Medicare for all can wait. I just don't think that we're going to get another situation where we have, a devastating pandemic that kills hundreds of thousands of Americans in less than a year, coupled with an economic depression, coupled with the narrowest margin in the House of Representatives, 11. It's 222 to 211. And there's 2 more seats up for grabs there. But this is the narrowest margin in the House of Representatives since 1880. All right. So you just don't get opportunities like this don't come around, all the time. And we're talking about, looking at 2 or 4 years under Biden with little to no change happening. We're not going to get Medicare for all. We're not going to get a Green New Deal. Let's be all the way real about this. There's not Biden's staffing his administration with a bunch of, your typical establishment Democrats. They're not going to rock the boat or bring about any radical policy. And we know that this moment requires, we are facing existential crises. We need to meet the moment with, policies that are as radical as the moment is, right? And unfortunately, that's just not what's happening. And I think that what is typical in midterm elections is that the opposition party is typically they do well in midterm elections. So, in 2010, Obama famously got what he called shellacked in that midterm election, and Republicans absolutely wiped out Democrats in that election. I think Democrats are going to get wiped out in the 2022 elections, and especially, you're talking about 2 years with no progress and not even a showing of a willingness to fight at all costs, right? And use every single bit of leverage available to them. And I just think that it discourages people. It certainly has discouraged me. I'm sure I'm not alone. Let me get to some more comments here. Angie Gracie says, I feel stupid for getting excited for 2 minutes. Tricked again. Yeah, same. Great. Angie, I feel quite foolish for even being excited for a moment there. Bob's cousin says, Pelosi is a potato head. I'll take it. And I think I answered Ken Sex's question, which is, or I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Ken Sexy. But Ken says, what happened? Did Corey and all of them change their vote? I think I answered that. So yeah, they did in the second roll call. So Drift 2003 says, can we be sure at this stage that Nancy Pelosi hasn't made a concession? Yes, 100%. It would have been the job of those progressives to come out there and let us know this is why we are going to vote, because we got concessions, right? Like there's no secret concessions. There's no, whatever backroom deals they did are not significant enough. And so, there's no way we can be 100% sure, but there's no reason for Democrats to hide something like that. If they were going to bring up a floor vote for Medicare for all, they would have announced it. So sadly, Drift 2003, Drift 2003, I don't see any way that Pelosi made any concessions, any significant concessions. What AOC talked about yesterday is that they essentially got a House rules change, and it's a really, really weak House rules change. Essentially, the rule change says that the chairman of the budget committee can use their discretion to waive pay-go rules on major legislation, which again is not to say that we've got rid of pay-go. I don't think I need to get back into pay-go, but pay-go is a stupid austerity measure that Democrats have imposed upon themselves that says that in order to enact legislation, to pass legislation that has a high cost, you have to offset it with either tax increases or spending cuts, which means cutting other programs, which is a foolish measure because some things, a government's job is to invest in its society, and some measures just require they're more long term, and the benefits don't come necessarily from tax increases or spending cuts. For instance, canceling student loan debt, right? If you cancel student loan debt, then all of a sudden people have, they have more money. They can spend more in local businesses. They can build up more local businesses. That money goes back into the economy or whatever. And then, through those local business taxes, you get more money back out of the local businesses that are making money, as well as those, the employees of those businesses. Companies doing better, they can afford to pay them higher wages, they can then pay higher taxes, as well as the stimulus to the economy, right? So it has a stimulating effect to the economy. People suddenly don't have to pay $1,000 a month on their student loan bill. They are putting that money back directly into the economy. So it has all kinds of stimulating effects where taxes can come back out of it, but it's not directly related to a tax increase or a spending cut. Things like Medicare for All, right? They save money in the long term. They're actually a tax. They provide a tax savings, and so they set up these pay-go rules. They essentially got some House rule passed that says that the chairman can use their discretion now to waive the pay-go, but pay-go's not gone, and we don't know that they're going to use their discretion to do so. And so just a really weak rule change, and essentially AOC signaled that was enough for her to vote for Pelosi. Angie says, "Happy birthday! Don't let it bring you down. It's only castles burning." Yeah, like I'm down because it's just like, I feel stupid for spending my last 4 years the way that I spent it. And I've lost 2 jobs getting angry about this stuff and losing, putting my career in danger. I've been unemployed for over a year now. Getting fired from my jobs is really shaking my confidence in the industry I was in. I was a software engineer. I was willing to sacrifice, a 6-figure job to speak out against injustice in the workplace because I thought that we all had a sense of urgency around these issues. And I just don't see that sense of urgency, sadly, with a bunch of folks that I thought were allies. And it just has me questioning my own sacrifices, unfortunately, because I wanted to be a part of this movement because I thought that this is where I felt meaningful. It felt like, all right, we're fighting for this and we will fight at all costs. But it sounds like to me, like a lot of people on the left are comfortable extending these timelines by years. And I don't have years to wait, unemployed and suffering Black American. Like, I just don't got years to wait. I'm unemployed. I'm housing insecure. I don't have my own place. I stay with a friend. It's just like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating stuff. All right. Because, I really believed in this, and I thought that we all had a sense of urgency on the left, and I'm realizing that not everyone on the left does. So it is kind of bringing me down, but I'll find some hope in the struggle somewhere, for sure. So Ken says, wow, every one of them voted for Pelosi. I heard that the Republican candidate was getting close. Did they get scared to challenge Pelosi? Yeah, the thing was that the Republican had 0 chance of winning unless Democrats voted for the Republican. The thing is, it's not whoever gets the most votes wins. It's you have to get a majority of votes. So in the House, with 435 representatives in the House, you have to get at least 218 votes to become Speaker of the House. So there was no chance of the Republican winning unless some Democrats defected and voted for a Republican, which there is no Democrat that was going to do that. That would be an instant way to lose your seat in the House. You would definitely be gone in the next election if you ever defected and voted for a Republican. So there was zero chance. There's zero chance of a Republican becoming speaker in this case because Democrats hold the majority. So if nobody gets 218, they just keep on going back to new votes. It just keeps on going back to new votes. So there was really no chance that a Republican was going to become speaker. So as close as he got, that was expected. Every Republican pretty much is going to vote for him. So totally expected. No surprise there. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. I don't have my super producer in the building to read through all these comments, so I gotta do the checking up on these. Ken says, when you have two parties that are given the power to control the vehicles of power within the government, it is not surprising that the rules favor those two parties. Yeah, for sure. I mean, absolutely. Do you see any, Ken says, do you see any coalescing of the progressive movement outside of the squad? No, I don't see how we coalesce. This is actually a moment for me to say, like, I don't see how we coalesce. We can't even, even on the left, we're fractured even on the left, much less between sort of progressives versus the left, because I think there's a whole bunch of people that consider themselves progressives that aren't necessarily like, leftist all the way, but they're progressive. Just look at the Congressional Progressive Caucus, right? Some of those are like centrist Democrats, really, let's be real. But they just know that the progressive label is a good brand right now. But no, I don't see any sort of coalescing of a progressive movement. I mean, we couldn't even coalesce around this one issue. We had a major fracturing on the left, I believe, in this moment, and I don't know what we would be coalescing around. I just don't. What's the fight? Like, let's fight for Medicare for all in 2 to 4 years or whatever. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's somebody else that could answer that better than I could. But from what I see, I just see the left becoming more fractured at this stage, not less. So, I think that a whole lot of people that I once considered allies, I don't have the same feeling towards at this stage, for sure. So, just flipping through some more. Mike says, what do progressives get out of being in the DNC other than being trained dogs? Time for a people's party. Yeah, I'm definitely, I'll support a people's party. I have already checked out coverage I did on the people's party. And I do think that it's, this two-party system is so here, I'll play a clip actually. I'll play a clip here of, this is Cornel West, and he's going to talk about here I'll play this. There's two clips of this. There's a full clip where he really gets into it. I'll play the short clip, the quick clip of him talking about the squad, and then we'll talk a little bit more. So let me just pull this clip up. I could play. This was at the Force to Vote town hall. Cornel West made an appearance, and I'll share what he had to say, sort of about referring to the squad. All right, so I'll play the short clip first, and then maybe, I don't know, if folks want it, I'll play the longer clip after. But here we go. Cornel West talking about how he feels like maybe the Democratic Party just is too far gone and too corrupted. All right, here we go.
Somehow, we've got to recognize when we do have power, we've got to use it, not in a narrow strategic way, but in the name of the suffering of those Sly Stone called everyday people. The Joys, the Scotts, and they are disproportionately chocolate. I mean, we can talk about reparations further down the line the same way.
Yeah.
How do you hit the issue when people don't have what they ought to have? access to wealth, the dignity, and a job at a living wage, and so forth and so on. That's the kind of, I think, vision and fire. And I do think that the squad, they've got some of this inside of them. They're just in a decrepit, corporate-driven Democratic Party.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem.
All right. So that was Cornel West just saying, look, and he starts that whole clip off. He started his whole speech off by saying, listen, the squad is the best that we got. It's the best slice of the Democratic Party, right? He starts out by saying those folks are the best slice we have of the Democratic Party. And even them, we can't get to go along with us on a fight like this. And so maybe the party itself, it's not, these people are not bad people. These are good intentioned people. These are fighters. I was one of the first 300 people to ever donate to AOC. I supported her campaign. I phone banged for her, when she was running against Joe Crowley. All right. So when nobody knew who AOC was, my profile pic on Twitter is me and AOC there, before her, before she ran against Joe Crowley. Right. And before she won that election. And I just, I remember talking to her then and meeting her then before, and then seeing her now. And I just think that, she's a good person. She was somebody that I believed in and I fought for because I believed in. And I've spent time and money and energy in her fight, right? And trying to fight for folks like her and the Justice Democrats. I was a day one supporter of Justice Democrats, day one supporter. As soon as, Justice Democrats announced, they announced their slate of candidates. They announced AOC, day one, I supported her, right? And so, I know these people are good, decent, well-intentioned people, but the problem is the system, right? Not the individuals within the system. And so we have to be, as Martin Luther King said, I'm summarizing, but it's something along the lines of, be kind to people and be ruthless to institutions, right? So I just think that we have to be ruthless to this institution of the Democratic Party and recognize that, recognize that the party itself, the party structure, may be just way too far gone. And so as far as electoral politics is concerned, yes, I believe the People's Party, the movement for a People's Party, it may very well be our only way forward. I think that the Democratic Party is decrepit, as Cornel West said there. It's rotten to its core, and you just have a system that's rotten to its core, and we have to recognize that and realize that there's no way to change that. You can't change it. You just got to throw away the whole damn apple, right, and get a fresh one, right? So yeah, I agree, Mike. It's time for a People's Party because we need. These two parties ain't doing it for us, right? And we get good people into these parties, and they just don't have the infrastructure to do what we need them to do. All right. Ken Sex says, Mike D, I can only guess that they can see how the rules are stacked against a third party and feel that their best chance is to change from within. Problem is the progressives do not know how to fight. I just think that the change from within thing, so many leftists have tried to warn us about this, changing it from within. And we're not heeding their warnings, because far smarter people than myself have continued to try to warn us that you just cannot change these systems from within them. You have to fight from outside of the system. And, I just think that this idea that we can change the Democratic Party from within the party, I'm all but, I've all but given up on that idea. I think that the party is naturally going to shift over time. I think we're shifting towards, to try to give some message of hope here, I think we're shifting. The younger generation is a more progressive generation. I think that we are moving in that direction. And it may just be that over time, slowly over time, because of those sort of all the pain that people go through, they'll shift over time. And we'll see a move towards a more progressive, party over time. I hope, but I think that progressive, the People's Party is one way that we can try to fight. I do think, like Ken says here, the rules are stacked against the third party. They absolutely are, and it's so hard. The system, again, just might be the system in electoral politics. Just we may not be able to get the gains that we need in, through the electoral system. I think that it's going to be labor movements and using our power through organizing labor. might be the only way forward for the left. And you know, general strike and those sorts of moves. I think general strike is really like, you know, the idea that we need to be organized around at this stage, because I don't think anything short of that is going to be enough to move policy forward in the way that we need to. Angie Gracie says, I'll never vote for a Democrat again. I don't blame you, Angie. I don't blame you. Mike D says the DNC changes you. You don't change the DNC. Yeah, unfortunately, you might just be right, Mike. Yeah. I just don't know if there's any hope in any of these parties, you know, and in electoral politics, because those two damn parties have the system so under lock, Mike, that I just don't know that we can fight. We can get a third party in there, you know, effectively. I mean, all right. I want to be hopeful, but boy, I'm finding it hard to be hopeful right now. Ken says, I love listening to Cornel West. I agree. Love listening to him. He's always on the right side of history. Yep. Angie Gracie says AOC and Bernie are 100% pure disappointment. I wouldn't say 100% disappointment. I just think that, you know, the system is at fault here, and that, you know, it really is. It is a terrible system that is a corruptive system, and I think that they were the best shot that we had. I don't know that anyone else getting in there would do it differently. Again, I think Nina Turner's, you know, hopefully will get elected, and you know what? I don't think that Nina Turner is going to be able to buck this system either. And I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I don't think that there's nobody. I don't think that if Angie Gracie got in there, the problem is, if you're the kind of person that could get in and would be the kind of person to buck the system enough, I don't think you get in, right? You don't even get in, because there's so many things stacked against you before that the type of people that even are allowed into the system are the types that have to be sort of willing to work with the system. And if you're even sort of willing, it's too far. So I just think that the whole, you know, it's not the people, it's not the individuals. I'm not disappointed in them, you know, because I just think that none of us could have done any better, to be real. You know, we couldn't have even gotten there and tried, but they at least were, were out there on the front lines and showed us all that maybe the system is just totally broken. And yeah, I don't know. So I'm not disappointed in them. I'm angry at a system. And I know that they are, you know, their intentions are pure. They do what they think is right. It's just, they're just wrong. Right. And so I guess it's okay. It's totally okay to be disappointed in them, though. I get it. And I get why you would be disappointed in them. I think that Bernie is really, like, I mean, he's been consistent for so long, and I mean, he's done what he could, and he tried to use his power to actually force a vote on $2,000 stimulus checks, and he wasn't able to win that fight, but he stuck his neck out online, and he did use all the tools available to him to try to do that. So I'm not totally disappointed in Bernie. I mean, I'm disappointed in him, like, supporting Biden the way that he did without any concession. He definitely failed on getting leverage there. But the system is the problem, not these people. And I don't think that we gotta, you know, sit around and shit on the people necessarily. Let's just attack the system, not necessarily the people within it, because these were the best that we had, and we couldn't get even the best that we had couldn't defeat this system. So I'm not totally giving up. I don't want to sound like I'm like totally giving up, but I can't lie. I just don't see it, y'all. I don't see it. All right. Yeah. Ken says, Angie Gracie, not disagreeing with you, but why do you feel they became disappointing? Was it the party? Yeah, I think it is the party, and it is the system, the party, the institution of the party. I think that these institutions are set up to do what they do, and to oppress, and exploit the working class people, working class people. And yeah, I just think it is the party. It is the party. It's the system, the two-party system that we even have, the whole political system that we have, fight for things like ranked choice voting and democracy in the workplace, because we got to start to, I don't even have the energy to try to get into it. Y'all know, watch all my other content if you want to see me make all the cases a million times over why we need democracy in the workplace and why that has to be the first fight that we fight for. Yeah. Mike D says, I have joined the People's Party of Washington and we are moving ahead. Look into it near you. Cheers. Yeah, I'll definitely look into it and I'll support. But I just, I'm a struggling person. I how much longer can I go unemployed and I'm got, once I'm homeless, I'm totally fucked out of the system. So I can't let it happen. And so people only have so long and so much energy to give to the movements. And the system is just crushing people. Everybody's being crushed. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. We're all one bad circumstance away from real economic pain. And I just think that, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, y'all. I try to be more hopeful usually, but this one got me. This one got me. Yeah. Just flipping through comments here. Corey Saylor says, I'll never vote for another Democrat as long as I live. # fraud squad. Yeah, I totally understand the sentiment today. Like, I totally get the sentiment, y'all. Like, how do you, it's very hard to find, to have faith in these politicians at this point. It's not their fault as individuals. The system is totally corrupted. And we got to start to find some other ways outside of electoralism, in electoral politics, to fight and to find meaning in our lives, because I'm feeling like my last 4 years were largely meaningless. Like the last 4 years, everything that I've done, it just feels like it was for nothing. Ultimately, I got a bunch of little, what has it done? What has it done? How have I helped anyone? How have I improved a single person's life? Shit, it just, this was the moment. This was the moment. I think that I was fighting for sure. This was it. This was the moment. And I thought that, I thought we were gonna fight. Holy shit! This is unfortunate, depressing. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Thanks so much for being here. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We're trying to get to 1,300 subscribers, but somehow in the last couple of days, we managed to lose subscribers, not gain them. So thank you to everyone who's hit the like button right now. I see that at least 7 people who are watching right now have not hit that like button. So please just do me that quick favor and just hit the like button down below. Try to grow the channel, grow the stream. For whatever reason, I'm gonna keep trying this and keep trying to fight this fight. I think over the next few days we'll have some time to sort of regroup, recalibrate, and figure out what's the necessary steps from here. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little just a little saddened by this. We got 1,299 subscribers right now. If one more person subscribes, if one more person watching this right now subscribes, you're number 1,300. So please do me the favor. All right. Cheer me up a little bit. It's my birthday today. For my birthday, as a birthday present to me, please subscribe to the channel. All right. Birthday present. So cheer me up a little bit. Let me see 1,300 subscribers, please. Somebody hit that button and subscribe right now. All right. Right now. Hit that subscribe button. Angie says they subscribe. Thank you so much, Andy. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Angie. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. That's awesome. All right. So let me take a quick look here at I'm gonna play a video that I played on my stream last night just because I want to play it, and it speaks to what how I was feeling, how I've been feeling about this, what's been going on. And so this is going to be a clip of Breonna Joy Gray speaking at a Force the Vote march on DC that happened yesterday. And I just want to play the clip because honestly, it just resonated with me, and it's how I feel right now. So let me play this clip and then we'll come back and we'll chat. All right. So here's Breonna Joy Gray talking at the Force the Vote march yesterday. All right, on DC.
We talked about these issues like nothing could wait. And now I'm realizing in this moment that a lot of the people that I respected in both the left media and in politics seem comfortable with the idea that the timeline is now being extended by years, if not decades. Yeah. And that has been a real mask off moment for me and for a lot of us, I think. You know, I feel like sometimes I was just the most naive person in the world because I actually believe the things that we said. To leave a fairly comfortable job to go into left journalism because I believe that certain things needed to be said because we couldn't wait. And there was a reason that I left my job in journalism that I loved and believed in to go and join a campaign and give up a certain amount of security because I believed that it was worth it for what we were fighting for at the end of the day was worth it. And now to hear that a lot of people seem to believe that we can extend these timelines, that the things that we said was just mere slurring is really disheartening. But what is heartening is seeing how many of you are willing to stand up and keep saying is right and keep speaking truth to power no matter what the consequences are.
All right. So that was Breonna Joy Gray just speaking at the Force the Vote rally yesterday. I just think that for anyone that's just joining us, Nancy Pelosi has been elected as Speaker of the House. Unfortunately, every single member of the squad voted for Nancy Pelosi. And what you're getting here is a very depressed Kamali right now because I had a little bit of hope for a short moment that we were actually going to be able to force a vote on Medicare for all, and hopefully a lot more, because we need a lot more than that. And, I gave up. I mean, damn, man, I have invested so much of my time, my money, my energy into this fight. And it's feeling today like it was all for nothing. I'm sorry. I hope that I'm allowed to feel that way. I've supported these politicians. I wish I had a better message for y'all. I wish I had some message of hope here, but the hope may be in the struggle of fighting in labor organizing, and that may be the place that we need to shift our focus. And maybe I can try to cover labor organizing and labor movements and try to focus on that and focus my attention on that. I don't have a bunch of left theory that I can sit there and speak to. I haven't, I wasn't privileged enough to read all that theory. I lived in a developing country throughout high school, so I didn't get the same kind of education, on U.S. history and this sorts of things. Or, in the U.S. anyways, that they don't even teach about real leftist praxis and theory. And so, I don't have that kind of backing, I don't have that kind of background. And so I don't know. I don't know what my role here is on the left at this stage, but I will recalibrate. I will, just recalculate and just try to figure out how I can do whatever is necessary. My goal is always just how the hell do we help the masses of people, the poorest among us, the homeless, the suffering. How do we help them now? How do we help them the fastest? And sustainably, I don't want it to just be short term, and I don't want it to just be a short term, Band-Aid fix. I want to help people substantively. And, I don't know. I don't know what the best way is to fight. I know that electoral politics isn't doing it for me anymore. And, props to everyone that still sticking around in that and holding out hope that, change the system, incrementalism, gradualism. We just got to get these little bits around the edge. I mean, you tell me how the Democrats aren't going to lose the House in 2022 and maybe lose the presidency in 2024. And then what the hell are we looking at from there? We're talking about 4 years of status quo, nothing really changing. Obama 2.0. Are we going to bail out the banks and leave the working class people, suffering yet again? That's what the Biden administration is staffed to do. More forever wars, no type of ending of foreign wars. We're not doing it. It's not happening. Not with the national security picks for the Biden administration. Not going to happen. The wars will continue. Like Tupac said, it's funny when it rains, it pours. We got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. They say there ain't no hope for the youth, but the truth is there ain't no hope for the future. And then they wonder why we crazy, So they got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. We always got money for wars. We just, they just overrode the national defense of Trump's veto of the National Defense Authorization Act to fund those wars. We always can come together. There's always bipartisan support. The Democrats and the Republicans can always come together to support never ending foreign wars, but will never come together to bail out working class people. They couldn't come together to force a vote for $2,000, even a measly, pathetic $2,000 stimulus check, which would not have been enough. People needed $2,000 stimulus checks monthly to sustain them through this pandemic, right? Every other industrialized country was able to give people sustained support throughout the entirety of this pandemic. We're the only people that threw people a paltry $1,200 check 10 months ago, 9 months ago. And now, we turn around and we give people $600, with evictions coming due, eviction moratoriums expiring at the end of January. People are suffering. People are hurting right now. Tens of millions of people getting kicked off of their health insurance in the middle of a pandemic. And even with the democratically controlled House of Representatives, it was too much to ask for just a measly vote. A vote on Medicare for all was apparently too much to ask for. It's too much to ask for in the middle of a global pandemic that killed 350,000 Americans already, and is due to kill 500,000 Americans in a year. It was too much to ask for a vote on universal health care. Then when? If not now, then when, folks? If we can't get this now, then when? You tell me and convince me and, an unemployed, struggling, working class American, why I should continue to pour energy into these movements when they're, you do it. And for what? What are we getting out of this? What are we getting out of the electoral politics? What is it? It's always, some incremental little bullshit change. It's just not enough. It's not enough. Yeah, I don't know. All right. I'm gonna wrap things up soon because I don't got much else to say here. Thanks to everyone who subscribed. Appreciate that. Beth Wishard says they have all spit in our face. Yes, Beth, they have. Thanks for the comment, Beth. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, please. I think we crossed 1,300 subscribers here tonight or today. So shout out 1301. Thank you to everyone for subscribing. Thank you so much. We crossed 1,300 subscribers. Yay. Yeah, thanks guys. And gals and non-binary folk, appreciate all the support. Wish I could feign some more happiness here, but it's just depressing. All right. It's depressing because it's like, what the hell? Why are we're so happy, like the squad's going in there. We expanded the squad and all this. And like, I don't even have the energy right now to make the arguments necessary. I just don't even have the energy. I got a whole bunch of arguments to make here. I don't have the energy because it's just this just kills it just sucks the soul out of you to see, just the failure on the left here. Like, it's either that, I don't know. All right. I shouldn't keep up with my misery. Angie Grace says, yeah, I gave Bernie my savings in 2016. I'm such a dumbass. Jesus Christ. You know, like, yeah, I've spent over $1,000. I donated $1,000, I think, to the Bernie campaign while I was unemployed, you know, while I had no reliable source of income. I donated $1,000 to the Bernie campaign. I've donated, you know, hundreds of dollars to AOC. You literally can look it up on the FEC website. You'll find my name if you search, you know, my name, Kamali Rose, and literally the first 300 people to ever donate to AOC. I was one of the first 300. Now over 1 million have donated, and I was one of the first 300. You know, I have supported her from the jump. You know, my profile pic on freaking Twitter is, you know, is a picture of me with AOC before she beat Joe Crowley. You can't tell me that I didn't support AOC and do all that I can to help these people get elected. And, you know, excuse me if I just feel a little saddened by their inability to recognize the importance of this moment. You know, we're in the middle of an economic depression, pandemic that has wiped out, you know, 350,000 Americans, more people dying in a single day than, you know, any day of the, you know, of World War II, of, you know, Pearl Harbor, of 9/11. Sorry. Yeah. So like, I know it's Pearl Harbor and 9/11. I don't know if it's World War II. But already more people dead from COVID than died throughout the entirety of World War II. So we already, you know, I mean, you know, sorry, more Americans, because we all know. Yeah. So, what to say? I don't know. Wish I had more to tell you. I don't. Please hit the like button below. Hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks to everyone who subscribed today. Thanks to everyone for joining us. I'm gonna go. I gotta go live life here. Yeah. Angie says, we thought it was a good investment, but it's a scam like the stock market. Yeah. Sadly, putting your money in the stock market, I actually would have done better, because the scam of a stock market actually has been, you know, because they've just, you know, it's complete and utter bullshit. It's a graph of rich people's feelings. And it's, you know, it's totally disengaged from the actual economy. But yeah, sadly, dumping money into the stock market would have done better, because we've artificially inflated the stock market for the past 4 years, and stuffing our money there, we would have been a better investment. Sadly, go get wealthy, you know, make a few extra dollars with all the rich people making millions and billions around us. Yeah. All right, guys. I mean, thank you so much for joining me. Glad you joined me today. Appreciate it for being here. Wish I had some better news. Pelosi is now Speaker of the House. Yeah. Okay. Okay, y'all. Thanks. See you again sometime, I think. All right. Peace.